and welcome back to this week's episode of youtube.com/Improv Gaming. As usual, you know who we are. I'm the biggest Zelda fan in the world, Jeremy Bird. If you don't believe me, I have the tattoo of the Triforce on my arm. And you ruined my fucking spot. Biggest Zelda fan in the world coming at you once again. I'm joined by the two coolest guys in gaming. I can't say cohorts because Nick says that all the time, but... Cohorts.
These are my cohorts.
They are my cohorts.
To my far right, he has the best ponytail in the business.
It's fabulous.
And earlier this week, he actually let it down. Check out to a console near you, where it actually comes down, which is very impressive.
Is that when I did it? I thought it was episode 1.
I think it's episode 1.
I'm pretty
I
sure
think they should check out both episodes.
I think they should check
Yeah,
out all. YouTube.com/Improv Gaming.
He actually said it. Holy shit.
He's getting a tear in his eye.
That's Mr. Nicholas.
Welcome to a very emotional episode of Improv.
Next to him, we have the host of most, for Fedora Man himself, Mr. Pete Anderson.
Phobadora?
Hold on.
Fedora Man.
Hold on. My hairpin got stuck in my hair.
Did it?
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome.
And we're joined by the best camera girl in the world, Miss Christine
Anderson.
Anderson.
No relation. I don't know this motherfucker from shit. No relation.
But
I was born on a single town in Ohio with nothing but the clothes on no back of mine because I was a baby infant. My mommy didn't even cut the cord.
shut up, Pete.
Wouldn't that mean you're still attached to her?
That's
I am.
disgusting.
If I stand up, you'll see it.
That sounds about right.
That's
And,
why I sit down.
And on that note, oh god, Pete, you're sick. Coming up at the Game Developers Conference, PSVR is going to be having their own event. How do we feel about that? How do we like them apples? What do you think?
Wait, what?
Release date is coming, and
PlayStation VR
price
is going to be
is
having
coming.
their own event at the Game Developers Conference.
Okay, so Aria came out, right?
What's Aria?
Which is, I want to say it's Sharp's VR headset. I'm not entirely sure about that. And Oculus came out with their price sets, right? Oculus was $600, Aria was $800.
Ugh.
So PlayStation VR does not look like it's gonna be the nice, comfortable price range that we want it to be.
300 to 400.
That's not gonna happen. There's no way.
$500.
Yeah. Keep dreaming.
Now,
I'm not
do-
sure. I'm
do
never
you
going to get
see-
the damn thing.
Do you see a price because of this conference coming out and a release date? Do you see both those? things
Yeah, they're coming. Well, I am more than certain that PlayStation is headed for a fall release on the PlayStation VR.
One of the GameStop, I think the CEO or somebody, ended up leaking that. Yes.
So for them to not have a price point by this time, or give us a price point, I don't know. I think that's going to be a downfall, even if it's a high price point. Like,
What's
it's
the
damned
price,
if you
do you
do and
think?
damned if you don't, right? You give a price point, and it's $600. People are going to be like, oh, my goodness, it's $600. You don't give a price point, everybody's going to be like, oh, they're trying to play it close to the chest because they don't want to release it until it comes out.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to be sneaky. So which one is it? You be honest and let them know that it's going to cost a lot, or you try to be sneaky and lose your fan base because you're playing this Microsoft fucking we're always watching you game.
Now, how much do you think it will be? With all patents in, your final prediction, what will PSVR...
600.
600?
Yeah.
Same as Oculus.
Same as Oculus.
I think it's going to be around 4. Because they've always undercut everything.
I probably on the higher side.
$549.95.
But
Son of a
if they
bitch.
say it now, people have time to like budget
You wanna go back?
appropriately
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So as
Wanna go
high
back?
as it sounds, people could be like, all right, 6 is a little much for me now, but I've also got till September, October, November to get my affairs in order, and I will budget accordingly because I really want that.
What
Yeah,
month do you
no.
think it will be released?
November, yeah.
I say October.
I doubt that.
October. Pete was right.
I doubt it.
But if you didn't know, this is the greatest video games gamecast in all the Mushroom Kingdom, Albion, and every past, present, future location of that 18-month now series, Assassin's Creed. We're 3 friends, sometimes 4. We talk about video games every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we honor you with Let's Plays every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Pete has, what, Division coming up this week?
Division is dropping yesterday. It
Yep.
is the Madison Square Garden
So it did
level.
drop.
It did drop.
Yeah, yesterday.
It's
Yep.
not dropping yesterday.
It
dropped.
dropped
And you
yesterday.
have the Dark Zone on Thursday.
Dark Zone coming up tomorrow.
We also bring in the biggest news in gaming via the One Up News series, and we're still being lazy because nothing real big has dropped, in my opinion. Sorry,
Well,
guys.
you know
We'll
what?
get
We
back
talk
on
about it on the show.
Yeah,
we do.
Because that way we can all share.
Yeah.
If something major comes out, like Unravel 2, you know I'm covering that shit.
it. Yeah. And
What
also,
is wrong with you?
Oh my
Are you
God.
like a glutton for abuse? Is that what it is?
but also from time to time, we honor you with special live streams, which on Monday, who won? Who lost?
We don't know.
You'll find out.
We don't know.
Watch that on youtube.com/improv game.
Cool.
Big secret. These episodes are pre-recorded.
I know. Trying to play off that shit. And if that sounds
It will
good,
go up on YouTube if you have not watched it live, so don't worry.
Yep. If that sounds good to you, hit the subscribe button and share our beautiful faces with you and our friends. Now,
The faces! He touched my face, I'm going to touch his face.
I'm not that uncomfortable with
So
that.
you can
actually.
tell they don't know the results. They're still friends.
Yep.
They're still friends. This is not actually how it's
We
going to
have
be.
two heads. This is how we're going to be for the rest of the
We're
episode.
buddies.
that's so lame. Now to the topic at hand,
Which is
Random topic number 2.
You don't know? You didn't get the memo? I emailed you guys.
Here's
You're
what
supposed to come with props. Are you seriously not prepared for this?
I have props.
I have a prop.
I have props.
Excuse me.
No, it's
Is this what you use this for, I hope?
topic.
Oh, okay.
What do you think I used?
It looks like
Focus.
a meme. It looks like a meme. Like you're maming your hair.
It looks like a horse brush.
Yeah,
Like you have a
you're-
pony in
you're-
the
you're
back
a
and you're
horse
just
brush.
like, here you go, precious.
Let me just get in the hair. Gotta flatten that out.
What's wrong with you, Pete?
Hold on.
Movies.
What's topic number 2?
Topic number 2 is all the different components that make up a game, of which I'm picking my own. This is probably not officially like what the fuck people would say they are, but this is what I'm going with. I want to know how you guys would rank them and like what's most important to you and what you can't live without. So I'm saying story. I'm saying gameplay, game flow. Like, does the game like flow well for you?
pacing.
The pacing. And I'm saying action, missions, like the more physical, like involved, components.
So we got story.
Story.
Little
Pacing.
handy dandy notebook.
Pacing.
Is that how you want to describe it? Pacing.
Yeah, pacing. We'll go.
And then
and then just
action, missions, challenges. The more like
Gameplay.
active the gameplay.
gameplay.
Gameplay, story, and pacing.
I want you to rank them and what can't you live without in a game you're playing.
Gameplay. You can't live without gameplay.
No, I don't mean obviously it needs to, but I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. What has to be sufficient enough for you in order for you to want to play a game or actually complete a game?
Gameplay.
Like, if something wasn't up to par, would you,
Doom didn't have a story.
like at all?
Gameplay.
Yeah, Doom
Not
didn't
the
have a
original
story at
ones.
all. Gameplay,
And-
and it's one of the most famous first-person shooters ever.
But you guys personally, would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
Not having story. Would you be okay with that? You like story.
gameplay.
You
Yeah,
like
I'm-
Doom?
I'm a
I know
story
you're-
junkie. I love story.
I'm gonna have to go
Unless
with
it's
gameplay
Firewatch.
because if you don't have that, you don't have the whole game.
No, I'm not saying like I'm phrasing it like I don't mean like can you live without gameplay? Obviously you need gameplay, but
But to
is it
rank
something
it-
where it's
okay.
so significant to you that if the
You have to
gameplay
rank
is
it.
not stellar,
So, gameplay.
it's gonna ruin the experience for you. Is what I mean. Like ranking wise, if
gameplay.
story was better than the gameplay itself, would that be okay?
So
Three.
we're ranking gameplay, story, and what?
Pacing.
Like how the game flows, does it feel like natural, comfortable? Like it does it like
It's ranked.
freeze stuff like that? Like
So Nick has his rank.
I have my ranking.
Take it away then.
All right, so 1 is gameplay.
you guys are all gonna fucking be like gameplay. You
Two.
all are gonna do that on purpose and be like,
Two.
well, 1 is gameplay.
2 is gameplay.
Fuck you.
And 3
Is gameplay.
is gameplay.
Seriously, guys, Nick's a dick in the comments. Capital letters, exclamation
Hashtag
points.
Nick's a
No,
dick.
no. My real ranking would be gameplay, story, and then pacing.
So if a game is a little bit like jilted and freezes up now, it's not gonna bother you as much in the big scheme
Well,
of
that's
things.
glitching.
That's
That's
gonna piss me off. So.
Pacing doesn't have
Or
anything
if
to do with.
or if
with-
it doesn't feel like a natural flow, like if it doesn't feel like seamless, like
No, because
lost, like lost in the.
I could live without them understanding where the action should be and where it shouldn't be. I could live without that because I've been living with bad camera angles my entire life in any game. Right, Devil May Cry is probably the worst fucking culprit in this regard.
No, there's
terrible
there's games
camera
worse.
angles. So the pacing is thrown off by those camera angles. So I can live with that. I can't live with you trying to give me a story and then failing miserably at it. Because as Devil May Cry and Bayonetta show you, right, those are satires and over-the-top games where they just kind of like, they don't necessarily have a great story, but they know that they don't have a great story, so they just go over top with the characters and what kind of characters you have there. And then God of War, they're like, well, we've, not only do we have a great story, this is like tried and tested. Like, this is ancient mythology. We know that the story is going to be great. We're just trying to fall in line of that and immerse our character into here. So they have a great story, and they have this over-the-top, badass kind of character. So the story isn't that off. It's a pretty good story. But the pacing, like, I don't see any game that has... I don't see any game that has been made or broken off of just pacing by itself.
So, like, I guess my question for you specifically, like Firewatch, I know the genre itself is a big part of why you were not a fan of the game.
Yeah.
That you don't like being told, okay, go pick this up, go do, you know what I mean? But the fact that the story, in your opinion, sucked, was that an almost, obviously not as big a factor, but was that an almost as big factor as to why you're like, fuck this game, I wish I wouldn't have played it?
Yeah, absolutely. The gameplay for me, I didn't like because I'm not into that genre of games. So obviously the gameplay is already out the door.
Right.
So my second ranking being the story, the story wasn't fucking amazing. Like, if you were going to give me a game that was very basic in terms of gameplay, the story should have been phenomenal. It was an in-depth story, don't get me wrong. And there was a lot of discovery that had to be made while you were playing the game. But I just didn't appreciate the story at all because, like I said before, like you're kind of focusing on this one thing and then suddenly it becomes this other thing that's really the big story. On top of that, there's like these undertones of what's going on with the main character, so that becomes another story, or that becomes another storyline. So it's kind of all over the place for me when it comes to Firewatch. What I will say is that pacing is probably the only thing that kept it on. That probably said no, don't, that kept me from saying pacing in that game was probably the only thing that kept me from saying no, this sucks for everybody, as opposed to what I did say, which is it sucked for me, it might not suck for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that
pacing helped you to actually like be like, okay, I'm gonna finish this and actually complete it.
But until you said the word pacing, I didn't really think about it. So that's how important it is to me.
I'm sorry, Nick. I'm in the same boat as you. It has to be gameplay, story, and pacing. Best example I can give. Can anyone guess?
Zelda.
No. Anyone else?
Unravel.
Get the fuck out of here! I don't play that shit.
Street Fighter, because you did the story mode?
No. Lego Dimensions.
Damn it! Why didn't we get Lego Dimensions?
I thought like the fucking bug.
I'm gonna change his name next week to the
The
biggest,
biggest Lego Dimension fan in the world.
Yeah.
But no, like that
You
game.
don't believe me? He brought his own kit to build them with.
I'm gonna buy you each a Lego Dimensions pack and be like, here, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
I'll play the Doctor Who levels.
No. But
Who?
See what you did there.
No,
you made
but-
it funny. Hey, I found Thanos.
I found Thanos.
Thanos?
God damn
Oh
it.
God.
God damn it, just messes
This is
all
like
day.
a train wreck.
Yeah. But Lego Dimensions to me encompasses everything. It's got great gameplay, how you put the little Lego pieces on to add new characters, to open new worlds.
A bunch
all
of
diff-
stories.
I'm gonna not talk if you guys keep making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you.
We're arguing.
We're debating amongst ourselves.
Why do I put up with you guys?
I don't know. I really don't.
But basically, to open the different worlds, and then all the gameplay of how like you have to build this, you do that. It may seem like the same Lego game, but the fact that you can go to different worlds, different locations, from all different forms of pop culture, really intrigued me in the game. Then go into story, the fact that you have this one all-powerful villain who's trying to destroy the whole Lego Dimensions worlds and bring, like, really merge all the dimensions together and just make one world in his own image, and you have to stop him. Simple story, but just amazing how you unite.
Right?
What?
It's Ansem.
From what?
From Kingdom Hearts.
Well, I don't like Ansem. Ansem the fucking
It's Ansem.
Fuck Ansem. Ansem is on the same level as fucking Sephiroth. They both suck. But anyway, it's just.
I'm gonna stab you many times.
I'm gonna say this last time. I don't like Final Fantasy VII. I still say Cloud's a bitch. I'm still gonna say it to the end of the days. But now you made me lose my train of thought.
I hate you so much.
I hate you so much. But you like me because I like Metal Gear. But anyway, it's just you have to stop, and that's the basic form of the story. But pacing is so perfect. Literally, it's just like I know it's linear A to B when you go through the main story, but then literally once you open up all the different worlds, you can do all these different things. Do I want to go to the Wizard of Oz? Do I want to go to Ghostbusters? Do I want to help the Doctor out on Doctor Who? Do I want to go to Jurassic World and try and stop the big T-Rex from destroying
And is
everything?
it them basically giving like the story of what the franchise actually is, or are they tweaking it to their own kind of thing? Like, oh, it's Doctor Who, but it's a little bit like different. It's like a different story. You know, like do they play around with the story? Or
You could see it as a full episode of Doctor Who, because when you start it up, it really starts up with a small intro. It plays the actual intro of the TV show, and it goes in this whole adventure where you start in a Cybermen factory, you end up dealing with the Weeping Angels, and then you get Daleks involved in it too. So, but that's just the level. That's the Doctor Who level, and then you go to the Doctor Who world, and it's a whole nother full episode where you battle Davros and everything. So, a lot of care in that game, a lot of fucking love put into it. But that just literally that encompasses like perfect things for me which is gameplay, story, and pacing all in one. I play games where the pacing sucks and it's boring. I can't think of any at the time, but just that's me.
But does that make you not complete the game if the pacing?
If the pacing sucks, then I'll toss the game out. It's literally if the pacing chugs, I will throw the game away just because it's that terrible. I haven't played a bad game in a while. That's the only reason why. My name is Peter Anderson.
Hello and welcome to episode 4. Oh, wait, we already did that. Alright, so in vain, mine is also gameplay, story, and what's the last one? And pacing. Now
there were 3 answers. You really couldn't remember what they were. You needed
I argue with
and
this.
they were written down on the same sheet that he was looking at.
And they weren't long either. Story, gameplay,
fuck you guys. Why do I do this?
pacing.
I will shut this shit down. My example to you guys, and why gameplay is important to me, but story is just.
Thank you.
Just
this is my boy right here. This is what I wanted.
I say that because Life is Strange. Because Life is Strange.
Can you please explain to me what he wrote here, please?
Life is
strong.
No.
You really wrote lice is strong.
Life is strong.
Life is strong?
Yeah, you both got lice.
I have no idea what you wrote there. What the fuck?
You say
this is what I've got, right? Like is story, no G play.
Gameplay.
I like to freelance my writing so nobody can understand it but me. Thank you very much.
You are not Nostradamus, bro. This is just a piece of paper nobody's gonna read ever again.
Future generations will not be studying your like is strong or whatever that.
Excuse me, I need.
No, I'm like.
I needed the bottom.
I was
you
gonna
can
frame
have the
that.
You can have the bottom. I'll take the top. All right. So my example being.
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. Life is Strange has no gameplay. I mean, you walk, but it doesn't have the traditional gameplay. You have the story and the pacing, and it's one of the best games I've played so far this year. Yes, it came out last year. I know, Nick. Don't worry. It will be not a game of the year.
It'll be honorable mention.
No, you can't mention it.
Nope, I'm not. I'm just going to mention every time until we do the game of the year awards. So
the fans will be wondering, why isn't it on the awards?
Well, technically there was a physical release this year, just saying. Anyway, but Life is Strange is different because it gives that story and that great pacing. It doesn't need the gameplay. The nice thing is, I tend to like story. If a story and gameplay grabs me, I don't need pacing.
You know the Bible is printed every year, right?
Doesn't mean it's going on the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
It's always on the New York bestseller list. Where else are you going to read about me? Anyway.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Pete. We find you in the fucking satanic Bible. That's where you are.
No, you're in the funny papers.
You're just chilling out this episode.
I am.
Don't go off this episode.
I really am.
But
no, it's just just a good point. Just like its initial publication date that counts now. You know,
Pre-print.
not the pre-release. The Bible's printed every year, but you know nobody calls it the greatest book of the 20th century.
If you didn't know, this is a video games cast, not Let's Play to Jeebus in the Bible. But no, Life is Strange has that rare necessity where it's story with pacing. But I could have alright gameplay if the story is great. Patent pending, my point, would be something like, I would have to say Unravel. Not Unravel, Until Dawn. Until Dawn story is fantastic and one of the best stories I played in a while. You know? And it's something where the story outshines the gameplay and it has great pacing, so you don't, I have an action sequence, you know, alright, cool, you know? But like for the story to keep you engaged, it for me is, like I said, I put gameplay first, but story is just right below, because if you have a great narrative, you know, and alright gameplay, the game is going to be good on how you take the story and everything in it. But if you have something like the original Doom, where it's just gameplay, of course the gameplay is important. It has to be important. That's the driving force of the game. But when you come to Doom 3, and you had that edition come out on like the 360 and everything like that, you had a decent story, but the gameplay was good. But the story was engaging enough to keep you in with the gameplay.
No, it wasn't.
What? You didn't like the story?
No, Doom bombed. Doom 3 bombed.
Yeah, it did pretty bad.
Doom 3 was like the worst ever thing that they could ever do. Everyone was like, just give me a fucking game without a story next time, please.
But to my point is I enjoyed the story and the gameplay. What's important is obviously these three things make a game, but also what makes a game, to many people, even though it doesn't matter, is how the game looks, how the game feels, you know, like all these different things. But when it comes to the core three things with what you've said, gameplay, pacing, and story, I mean, pacing is definitely not the most important thing. It helps though. Last of Us has great pacing.
It doesn't frustrate the gamer.
Yeah, it has great pacing, you know. I thought Metal Gear Solid 5 had horrible pacing. You can argue, I know. But I thought it had horrible pacing. And that took me out because you need at least...
I'm never going to disagree with what you say about Metal Gear 5. I don't know if you've understood this. I'm never going to disagree with you. I've never disagreed with you. And even when I was talking about how much I liked Metal Gear Solid 5, I always said, but you guys won't.
You know, it sounds like we already had a discussion similar to this.
You did.
Where can you find that, Nick?
On www.youtube.com/improvgaming.
Who the fuck says WWF?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like WWE. But... you could, yeah. Why Metal Gear Solid 5 is not a Metal Gear game was the actual title. Check it out. But
so 2 out of the 3 things need to be.
Yeah, for me it has to be 2 of the 3 things that really drive. One thing can lack. If gameplay is severely bad, well, that's a bad example. If the story is really bad but the gameplay is good and the pacing is good, it could take away from the game in modern times. Back in the day, if you didn't have the story as much and the gameplay and the pacing was good, like Wolfenstein 3D.
No,
I enjoyed.
I argue that the only one that's the most important is gameplay, because without gameplay you don't have a video game.
I can agree with you on that, because think about the original Nintendo games. 90% of them didn't have a fucking story, and it was just literally gameplay A to Z.
But now in this, I'm
approaching it as a more modern.
No, but even
modernly,
like Life is Strange has gameplay. You are playing a game.
Yeah,
that's why you're not in a movie theater watching a movie. You're playing a game. So there is a gameplay dynamic.
I know. I'm saying, but it's
but
not the focal
point.
Here we go again.
It's not the focal point.
It's not
of the
traditional
game.
gameplay.
No, but without gameplay, it would be a movie.
Like Metal Gear Solid.
But I'm saying without
like
gameplay,
every time you pick an answer with your button, that's gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. Nick's right in that regard. It's not a movie. You're actually physically doing
We should
something.
write things correctly this time.
There's no lice here.
But I was gonna say, Pete, you done or are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to you then, motherfucker.
Oh.
You want my? Yeah, I'll wrap it in.
He's getting mad at me.
Yeah.
Why
You want poor
is he
pacing?
getting mad at me?
You want poor pacing, motherfucker? Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2's tutorial levels are fucking terrible.
Yes, but we're talking about the game, not the tutorials.
No, I'm talking about for pacing for me. There's my example. I actually, literally, I went to the whole Roxas fucking tutorial 3 fucking hours. It's time. 3 hours to go through that whole fucking tutorial. That's horrible fucking pacing.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
very
horrible.
amped up about this.
I'm so mad that he's not. I thought he was gonna fight me on it.
It
God
is
damn
absolutely
it.
horrible.
That's why literally I played both games, beginning and
If
end.
you address Nick before you say it, Nick will not argue. If you just say it, then Nick will go,
No, because we have agreed on this in the past. This isn't like some
Oh, I
new
thought we were
topic.
arguing.
We've agreed on this in the past, where the tutorial in Kingdom Hearts that lasts halfway through the game is just absolutely ridiculous.
Good.
But I still love the fucking franchise. I still think that after you get through the tutorial, the fucking pacing on the game is fucking
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I'll agree with you. I just hate the fact that you created a character, you put him in with all these different people, and Roxas doesn't fucking exist.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a waste of a fucking character.
But that's not necessarily pacing as it is tell your story on one platform.
I know.
Because if you play it on the fucking, what was it, the
The Game Boys or some shit?
one of the Game Boys, I don't remember which
The Game
one
Boy
it is.
Advance?
Was it? I think it was the Game Boy Advance. If you played it on the Advance, Chain of Memories gives you the story of how Roxas and Sora split into two different characters, and Kyrie and the other one split.
Yeah, no,
into
I'm just
two
talking
different
about how, like,
characters.
say, like me, I didn't
And
play
then
the
where
game.
the fucking Black Hoods come from. Yeah, that was the same thing with me. And we've had this discussion. I was like, tell your fucking story on one platform, because here's this big jump that I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
If you didn't have a GBA, then you would be completely lost.
Yes, which I didn't.
Yeah, same here. No, but like I was saying, my friend gives me a hard time. He goes, "You don't like Kingdom Hearts because the tutorials are too long." I'm like, "The tutorials are fucking bullshit, dude. Literally, you ripped that shit out of the game and you threw me right into the fucking. Literally, if you started up Kingdom Hearts 2 with the shell opening up and fucking Sora coming out, just start it off there. That would make me happy. Other than that, I'm not.
No, I get the story and why they utilize the Roxas part of things in order to give you a tutorial. That way, when you finally do get to Sora, you're like, okay, now you're playing the game. I get that, but the pacing on that wasn't fucked up.
Oh well.
I'll argue that the pacing of that wasn't fucked up because now you have this character that's a non-entity that's going to find Sora, and what are we going to do with his story? Why don't we make it a tutorial? Because it's not really part of the game. So the pacing of that kind of goes right into the next line in the game. That way you can finish it.
Got it.
What was yours?
Mine is number 1 is story. Fuck these guys and their gameplay. Number 1 is story.
Fuck you do then.
So go watch a movie.
Yes, but
here's what
I
you-
get what Nick's saying. Like, if you want story so much, watch a movie, and you're 100% right. But
Or read a
that's
book.
why.
For the readers out there, you could also read a book for a story.
Or if you really wanted to, you could just play a Metal Gear Solid game. Then you get a movie and a game in one shot.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, I don't know. You may not know. I don't tend to play a lot of games because, quite frankly, the camera angles cause me some distress. But fuck you guys, you're ruining my moment here. You know what? Fuck it. It doesn't even matter.
No.
Wrap this shit up.
Continue.
No, I pick story because I've definitely attempted multiple story-based games because my brother, being awesome, looks out for me and will be like, oh, you should try this game. I think you'll like it. Because he knows I can't really do Halo and stuff like that I would love to do.
Halo has a great story.
Yes, no, I'm not down, but I can't handle the gameplay. That's just reality. Like, I will get nauseous. It's not going to happen.
Did you
But
just
I've
say your brother
attempted.
was awesome?
I did. It was a
What's
weak
wrong
moment.
with you?
It's a weak moment. But I've attempted Heavy Rain. I've attempted Alan Wake. I've attempted the Agatha Christie video game. A lot of games where the focus is story because that's as a gamer with my situation is the thing I have to look for most in a game because I can't always handle the gameplay like other people do. So
Good stuff. And then, so you say story, gameplay, and then pacing?
I do. Yes.
Is that why video games suck now? Because they're trying to reach people that don't play video games?
Probably. Or blame Nintendo.
Blame me. Blame me. That's what you really want to say, Nick, right? This is Christine's fault.
I'm not saying it's your
How
fault.
about those bananas?
Oh god. That was good. So we got one more episode coming up on Friday for the fans, from the fans.
I'm kind of afraid because I
Yeah.
picked on Christine a little bit this
is
this
your bad.
But
episode.
for reasons.
So I think
But-
she's gonna go after me next episode.
Of course you will.
But we'll see you guys on Friday. Tomorrow on Twitch we have the Dark Zone for Division, correct?
Yep. Dark Zone coming out. Also check out the
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden that was released yesterday, and Far Cry. That was also... I
Far
fuck
Cry
around in
Primal.
Far Cry.
He becomes an owl.
I knew it'd be coming out.
No, you
And
just
then
let
that-
the owl off the perch. You don't become an owl.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You
Have you played the
tame
game?
an owl.
Yes, but you become the owl.
No,
Spiritually,
you fly
become-
the owl,
Yes.
and you utilize it as if you would binoculars in a
Binoculars?
binoculars.
Can
in a
an
regular-
owl go through a tree? Can binoculars fly through a tree?
Yes, if you throw them hard enough. Yes! Yes! Yes!
You just laid the smack down on you, bro.
And on that note,
Game on.
Was that suffice enough for you?
I should have fucking asked. Part of me was like, I feel like Portal might not be that indie. But then I forgot to ask, and then